Weeks before the gala, an elegant invitation from my wife's advertising firm arrived, but it failed to ignite any excitement in me. Claire, my wife, thrived in her role at the high-end agency, where events like these were more about showcasing prestige than fostering genuine celebration. Yet she pressed me to attend, her voice carrying an unfamiliar zeal. "You'll get to meet my new boss," she said, her eyes alight with an intensity that stirred unease in me. Her fervor when speaking of him planted a seed of doubt, though I kept silent. For months, a subtle rift had been forming, her late nights at work piling up, her phone always face down on the counter. I tried to chalk it up to her demanding job, nothing more. But that night, in a lavish ballroom filled with gleaming smiles and the clink of champagne glasses, my suspicions would solidify into undeniable truth. Upon our arrival, Claire glowed in her scarlet dress, drawing every eye in the room. Among those captivated was her boss, Victor Langston, a commanding figure radiating the kind of effortless confidence that wealth and power breed. "Daniel," Claire said, nudging me toward him with a gentle pull, "meet Victor." He assessed me with a swift glance before offering a smirk. "So you're the man of the house," he said, his handshake firm, carrying an undercurrent of challenge as if staking his claim. "Claire's told me all about you." The way he lingered on her name sent a jolt of discomfort through me. I forced a thin smile and replied, "Odd she's barely mentioned you." Claire's nervous laugh broke the tension, but Victor's cool gaze lingered on her dress before meeting mine again. That brief exchange said more than words could. As the evening progressed, I kept my focus on Victor. He moved through the crowd like a man who believed his charm excused any overreach, his voice overly loud, his laughter dragging on, his casual touches on others' arms implying he owned the room. Claire, to my dismay, seemed unbothered, chuckling at his jokes and allowing him to stand far too close. My stomach twisted, but I held my composure. The turning point came during his toast. Victor slipped an arm around Claire's waist, a gesture far too familiar for a colleague, and proclaimed, "To the woman who makes every day at work a delight." The crowd tittered, but I stayed silent. His hand lingered, and though Claire tensed, she didn't step away. My jaw clenched as I sipped my wine, the burn of humiliation sharper than the taste. Victor noticed my silence and grinned. "Relax, Daniel," he said, patting my shoulder like I was a sulky child. "She's well looked after." The room laughed again. Claire's face drained of color and she whispered, "Victor, stop." But his smirk only grew. I could have lashed out, let my anger boil over. Instead, I gave a faint, calculated smile that seemed to unnerve him. "You're right," I said softly. "She's safer than you think." His brow creased, confused by the weight of my words. Unbeknownst to him, the company he ruled with such bravado had been acquired 3 months earlier, by me. I had come to the gala with intent to watch how he behaved when he thought no one of significance was observing. Later, Victor grabbed the microphone again, crowing about his stellar team. Pointing to Claire, he declared, "This woman, my vital partner, makes everything happen." The crowd applauded and he basked in the spotlight. "Of course," he added, glancing at me with a smug grin, "some might be jealous of our bond." The room's focus turned to us and Claire's hands shook. I stepped forward and said, "May I speak?" Victor, bloated with arrogance, handed me the mic with a mocking, "Go ahead, husband of the night." The audience giggled, unaware the tone was about to change. "Thank you," I said, my voice calm and deliberate. "This evening has been eye-opening, revealing how this company operates, how its leaders treat their peers, and how hubris often eclipses respect." The room fell silent, and Victor's smugness faltered. "That's why I'm here," I went on. "This company, your company, was purchased last quarter." I paused, letting the silence thicken. "And I'm the new owner." A collective gasp swept through the crowd. Victor's face turned pale. "That's not funny," he stammered, his voice unsteady. I pulled a folded document from my jacket and handed it to him. "It's real," I said. "No jest. You report to me now." Whispers erupted like sparks. Claire covered her mouth, shocked. Victor sputtered, "You can't just—" "Oh, I can," I interrupted, my tone steady but firm. "And I will. Effective immediately, you're suspended pending a review of workplace misconduct, starting with your behavior tonight." HR staff in the room exchanged glances, already aware. Victor stood frozen, speechless. I handed back the microphone and said, "Next time you think to touch another man's wife, know who she's married to." The silence was deafening. I turned toward the exit, the crowd murmuring in disbelief. Claire rushed after me, her eyes welling with tears. "Daniel," she said, her voice trembling. "Why didn't you tell me?" I faced her, calm but exhausted. "I wanted to see the truth, how you behave when you think I'm just your husband. Not someone who could alter your world with one sentence." She reached for my hand but I stepped back. "You let him disrespect us both. You laughed with him. That's not something I can forget." Tears poured down her cheeks as she tried to explain, but the hurt ran too deep. The next day Victor resigned. The company faced a sweeping overhaul, with several of his loyalists leaving soon after. Claire and I tried to talk, but some divides are too vast to mend. Love can withstand many trials, but not public humiliation or quiet betrayal. Eventually, I filed for separation, not out of vengeance, but because I finally saw her clearly. Someone who valued appearances over honor. Reflecting on that night, I recall how quickly power can shift when truth takes center stage. When Victor's hand rested on Claire's waist, he thought he was asserting dominance. In truth, he handed me the perfect moment to reveal who truly held the upper hand. I didn't shout or strike out. I simply spoke the truth, and it burned brighter than any act of retribution could.